You keep waiting to feel ready. You want T, not because you're broken, but because you're using the wrong mechanism. Motivation doesn't die in some dramatic moment. It fades in the quiet gap between I want it and I do the thing. And nature shows you exactly why. Because nature doesn't negotiate with moods. Here's the loop you're stuck in. You start with a surge of excitement. Then life hits, your energy drops, and you decide the drop is proof you can't sustain. That S backwards. The surge is the gift. The missing part is the system that keeps moving when the surge is gone. In nature, the system is built into the environment. Energy becomes momentum through repetition, timing, and feedback, not through daily hype. Consider the ocean. Currents don't rely on inspiration. They move because water is always seeking balance. Warm water meets cold water, pressure differences form. And the flow keeps going because the world keeps creating pathways. You can't out-motivate reality. You can only design your actions to ride the pathways that already exist. 2. And now zoom out to forests. Trees don't grow by waiting for perfect weather. They allocate resources when conditions allow, and they conserve when they don't. That is momentum with thrift. When you plan only for your best days, you're building a fantasy, not a plan. When you plan for imperfect days, you're building a living system. Even seasons tell the truth. Spring doesn't arrive because someone begged for it. It arrives because cycles do the work. Nothing about it is emotional. It's mechanical. The same pattern repeats everywhere. Rivers carve stone without a single speech. Bees navigate by instinct and orientation. And migration happens on schedule, not mood. So here's the real reason your motivation dies by Wednesday. You're trying to be the weather. You're trying to supply the energy instead of adapting to the flow. Nature teaches a harder lesson. Stop asking, do I feel like it? And start asking, what is the next step that keeps my trajectory alive? Today, pick one small action that you can do even on low energy days and attach it to a constant cue. After you brush your teeth, you start. After you open your laptop, you begin. No debate. No heroics, just a repeating trigger that tells your brain, this happens even when I'm not feeling it. What if you want 10 incredible facts about nature? Fine. But the only one that matters for your life is this. Momentum is not a feeling. It's a mechanism that keeps producing results long after the excitement fades. And you can build that mechanism today. And once you notice it, you stop calling the slump failure and start treating it like whether you can work with as the next storm hits. You keep waiting to feel ready. Nature doesn't do that. It designed for the days you don't want to show up, and it wins anyway. Here's fact 1, and it's brutally practical. Nature hates perfect. It uses iteration. Think about bacteria biofilms. In water, in pipes, in a wound, bacteria don't build a masterpiece in one attempt. They release a tiny bit of sticky material, attach, fail a little, rebuild, and keep going until the whole surface becomes a living structure. Individual cells don't feel confident. They just try again and again and again until the environment can't beat the pattern they've created. 2, or look at lichens. They start as nothing more than a few cells landing on bare rock. Rain washes them off. Sun dries them out. Temperature swings punish them. But those organisms keep making the smallest move possible hold fast, grow a layer, weather the stress, then do it again. Over time, microscopic growth turns stone into soil, not because they waited for the perfect conditions, but because they refused to stop when conditions weren't perfect. This is the mechanism your motivation is missing. By midweek, your brain is doing an unfair deal with you. It says, if I don't feel fired up today, why bother? Nature answers with a different contract. Keep the process alive, and the results will compound. It's not inspiration. It's engineering. Most people think they need a bigger spark. They don't. They need a repeatable attempt that survives low energy. That means you stop treating your day like a performance and start treating it like maintenance. Here's your action for today. Choose one micro task that takes less than 5 minutes and tie it to a constant cue. Not a mood, not a perfect schedule. A trigger. When you hear the first notification, you do the first step. When you sit down, you open the document. When you pour your coffee, you write one sentence. Then you stop. The win isn't finishing. The win is proving to your system that momentum is automatic, even on the days your feelings are late. One nature doesn't wait for perfection. It iterates until the environment gives in. And if you've been stuck in that midweek slump, It's not because you're broken, it's because you've been waiting for weather when you needed to build your own current. You're not stuck because you lack willpower. You're stuck because you're waiting for the atmosphere to cooperate. Nature never does that. It builds momentum that keeps going while the conditions change. Weather is the oldest reminder that pressure makes progress. Wind and rain don't encourage rock like a pep talk. They attack it again and again. Water seeps into cracks, freezes, expands, and turns tight seams into fractures. Then thaw, then seep, then freeze. Erosion isn't a heroic event. It's a slow, relentless cycle that keeps working even when no one is watching. To now zoom out to the ocean, where movement comes from below, not from hype. Along many coasts, winds push surface water away from shore. Cold, nutrient-rich water rises to replace it in an effect called upwelling. That's the ocean's cheat code. It doesn't rely on the sun to do everything. It manufactures the conditions that make life possible. When nutrients reach the surface, plankton blooms, fish follow, and the whole system accelerates. Two clouds do something similar, just with air and temperature instead of waves. Water vapor climbs, cools, and condenses onto tiny particles. Once enough droplets gather, the cloud grows until it can't hold it anymore and releases rain. Notice the mechanism. Condensation doesn't care how you feel about the day. It cares that the air hits a threshold. The same way, your motivation dies when you demand inspiration instead of setting a threshold action that runs regardless of mood. One time, too, is not a suggestion. Seasonal migration is nature's scheduling engine. Animals don't travel because they woke up excited. They move because day length shifts, temperatures change, food availability follows. And instinct plus physiology translates that into motion. The system adapts to the calendar, not to feelings. So when your energy dips by midweek, don't treat it like a personal failure. Treat it like winter arriving information, not a verdict. 2. And then there's fire, the topic people fear and misunderstand. In many ecosystems, fire is ecological maintenance. It clears old growth, releases nutrients locked in dead material, an open space for seeds that only germinate after heat or smoke. Some plants are built to survive, even to require it. The point is brutal and empowering. Destruction can be a reset protocol, not just an ending. Fire ecology shows you what survival iteration looks like. Same environment, new opening, faster recovery. 2. So here's what to do with this. Pick one micro task you can start in under 5 minutes and anchor it to a cue that never argues with you. When your phone lights up, you begin. When you sit down, you open the document. When the kettle clicks, you write one sentence, then stop. That's your weather system, your upwelling, your cloud condensation, your migration schedule, your fire reset, all in one repeatable attempt that compounds while your feelings catch up later. One, the environment doesn't have to feel right for you to move. Nature doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It builds momentum that thrives inside imperfect ones. And your next step can be engineered the same way, starting now. Survival isn't a mood. It's a feedback loop, and nature runs it like a control system that never asks permission from your emotions. First, look at pollination networks. Flowers don't just hope for birds or insects. They produce signals that get tested every day. Scent, shape, nectar timing. Pollinators respond, and plants adjust through what they reward and when they bloom. If visits drop, selection favors flowers that match the real behavior of the pollinators in that exact area. That's feedback, not vibes. A plant that feels patient doesn't spread. A plant that gets measured by outcomes does. One, now zoom in on animal camouflage and learning. Camouflage isn't only paint and pattern. It's information processing. Predators and prey are constantly sampling each other distance, motion, timing, scent. When a prey animal is attacked, it doesn't just survive by luck. It updates behavior. It changes where it hides, how it moves, and when it risks exposure. Predators do the same. The environment gives signal, the animal changes response, and the loop continues. Learning is survival's version of debugging. When you stop evolving, you get outcompete. 2, and then there's the gut microbiome and fungal mycorrhiza. Here's the truth that stings. Most of what helps you digest, detox, and resist stress ISNTU in the way your ego likes to imagine. Your survival trade-offs are negotiated with microbes and fungi in exchange for nutrients. They process compounds you can't handle alone, and they influence immune behavior and energy harvest. But it's not one-sided. If diet swings wildly, if stress changes your internal chemistry, the microbial community shifts. Sometimes you lose helpful partners. Sometimes you gain trouble. That means your health isn't just a personal brand. It's an ecosystem that responds to repeated inputs. One so here as the tough love mechanic. If nature doesn't wait for a feeling before it updates, why are you? Motivation dies midweek because you treat it like a switch instead of signal. Feelings tell you what you want. Feedback tells you what works. Today, run one loop. Choose a single behavior you can measure in 5 minutes. Write one sentence. Take one walk. Read 10 lines. Do one rep set, then attach it to a cue that shows up no matter what your mood says. When the cue hits, you perform the action. When the action happens, you learn. No drama. No waiting. You're not stuck because you lack discipline. You're stuck because you're not running the feedback system your body and nature already understand. Nature survives on feedback loops, not vibes. The prey changes its hiding place when conditions shift. The gut community adapts when your inputs change. So your next upgrade isn't a new personality or a louder promise, it's a tighter signal. Pick your measurable action for today, set the cue, and run it on repeat for one day. Don't ask if you feel ready. Measure what you do, then adjust tomorrow. Do it now. Choose the loop and start it.